Alcoholism, drugs, porn addiction. Three major toxins in many men's lives. You know, times are changing quite a bit now. What we're seeing with, especially after COVID, people have really, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people have gotten into difficult times, whether it's financially, spiritually, personally, socially. We're seeing a lot of people struggling right now, and it's the way their outlet to deal with that struggle is what the issue is here. Um, Now you're probably sitting here thinking like, oh well, porn can't be that bad, or a couple of drinks here and there can't be bad. Well, here's the thing, right? Just like anything, when something starts off as a little bit and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and gets big enough to the point where the big boulder falling down at you on the mountain, right? You can't stop it. Okay, it starts off as a rock, then a couple of rocks, and then just giant boulder eventually hits you. The thing is this. Now, thankfully, I have not, I have not gotten involved with becoming a drug addict. Never got into drugs. Never was an alcoholic. I used to drink, in college and get drunk here and there, but nothing like serious. But I don't drink. Maybe like one drink, maybe a wine once a year, if that. Maybe two drinks a year. And with porn, I used to watch that when I was like in high school and college, and then I cut that shit out too, because that's what it is. It's shit. Um, so with the porn part, uh, there's many studies on the damage it does to your brain. Tremendous damage. Some of it that's even irreversible. Now, what you're seeing now is porn is so accessible with your cell phone and just everywhere you look, even social media now. Everything you look is a girl shaking her ass, and it's just constant like stimulation, constant, right? Now, this is going to relate to one of the other videos on, a girl had commented like, "Why don't guys approach us anymore? What's going on with men now?" That's going to be a whole other video I'm going to do. I believe it's a quick combination where you got men, so many men now addicted to porn where they just don't have any steam to talk to women in real life. And the other reason too is, right, I'm not going to blame it on men totally, but, I've lived around the world. I'm back in the US now temporarily, and I don't date here in the US. I don't date here in the US. I prefer dating elsewhere, other countries where it's much more enjoyable. But I have, female friends here. I talk to them, but as far as actually relationships here, I don't do it. I stopped since like 2015, but I do date elsewhere whenever I'm traveling. So, where do we go from this, right? We have a lot of men now that are porn addicts, right? And they think that's the way to live, right? Like, I don't need to go see it. I don't need to date or anything. I can just watch porn, right? Big dead end. Not only for a physical issue, spiritual issue, it just drains you out, right? And it's just a dead end, right? It's a dead end. There's no benefits to this, and it's a quick dopamine hit. Same with the alcohol and the drugs, guys. Okay? The reason I believe too, the other issue is this. And if anything, guys, if anyone should have become an alcoholic or a drug addict, it should have been me. Okay? I had a lot of crazy shit happen. I talked about this in a previous video. I think it was one of my first videos about overcoming adversity. If anyone should have become one of these addicts, it should have been me. And I never touched this, right? Would you say it's discipline? Yeah, it's discipline. But I also see that if you get involved with these things, not only will it be, that people assume like it's a temporary way to forget about your problems, but little do they know it's going to augment their problems by 10x, 100 times worse, right? In order to bypass these things, and it's easier said than done. I've never become a drug addict, so I don't want to sound like I know everything, but I will say this. What's gotten me to avoid these things, right? Even porn. I haven't watched porn in a couple of years. Like, I've just cut this out too. You have to have, and it can be hard, but you have to find some type of purpose. This is 99% of it, a purpose, whatever that purpose may be. Maybe it's you want to start a family. Maybe you do have a family, you want to do the best for your kids and your wife. Maybe it's a business purpose or a goal, right? You have to have a purpose. And the more free time you have, that could be trouble too. Because once you have free time to think about all your problems, and maybe your problems are legitimate problems, okay? I'm not dismissing any of that here in this video. What I am dismissing is the usage of toxins to handle those problems. That's where I have the problem with, and we're going to put an end to that shit, okay? Because if you think your life's bad now, it can get way worse later on. And all of these drugs, all of these toxins are very harmful. Drugs, porn, alcoholism. So, how do you find a purpose when you're at rock bottom? You're talking to somebody that was at rock bottom multiple times, literally starting over, right? Health problems, couldn't breathe, Lyme disease, family problems, all my family's pretty much cut off. Cutting off friendships from 20 out of 20 years, right? Because I saw their true colors over time, and I saw that they weren't friends, they were just users, using me, right? And they would be not happy for me when things were going good. And it took me 20 years to catch it. So better late than never, right? Business issues, investment issues, losing millions, and then, just back and forth, making it back, losing it, the emotional roller coaster of that. Now, what did I have in between all those hardships? I've had times where I couldn't sleep for on and off for months at a time. The anxiety was out of control, where I was vomiting nonstop because the anxiety was so out of control. But then I had to calm myself down and just tell myself, hey, this is the situation. This is the situation. So how do I fix this? And how do I move forward? But what I learned throughout this process of the ups and downs of life is that you have to have a purpose, and you have to focus in on that purpose with a laser beam. No matter what that purpose is, or how the magnitude of that purpose, how big it is, you have to have a purpose. So, if you currently don't have a purpose, write down on a piece of paper today. If you're watching this now, get some paper and a pen, and write this down. Write down 3 purposes, 3 goals you have. Now, you're not going to do all 3 goals right now. What you're going to do is write down these 3 purposes or goals on a piece of paper, and then tomorrow look back at it and think to yourself, out of those 3, which one are you most passionate or interested in? You're going to circle that one, and that's the one you're going to work on in the future. You're going to create tangible goals. You're going to have metrics to measure each week or each month where you're at in that process, okay? I'm kind of doing that myself with this channel. I just randomly created this channel not too long ago because, like I said in the previous video, I had a bunch of people randomly in the last few weeks, whether it was strangers or people that I've known. They're like, Alex, you got to do a YouTube channel. Just start posting. You got a lot of crazy stuff. So that's what I'm doing. So back to what I was saying, the purpose. If you don't find yourself having a purpose, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble, because if you get into the drugs, the alcohol, the porn addiction, what's going to happen is that dark, deep black hole is going to get darker and darker and darker, and you're going to get sucked in more and more and more. I don't want you guys to get sucked in more and more and more. Wherever you're at in that dark hole, right, that you're currently in, the goal is to go like this, to get out of it. And it's possible. You just need to focus on your purpose and your goals and take baby steps to those goals each day. Whether it's health, which I recommend, right? Maybe you want to hit the gym a little bit more, lose some weight, maybe get some muscle. Whether it's a business goal to have a certain number you want to hit, maybe it's whatever the goal is, circle it, have a goal, and see where you're at in 30 days with it, because this is the only way, right? Besides also having very supportive friends along the way to be your cheerleader to help you out through this time, whatever you guys are going through. And you also have to, vent it out to them what you're doing as well. Tell them what issues you're having as well, but make sure they're holding you accountable as well with your goals. You guys can get out of rock bottom. It's very much doable. and many people have done it, and you're going to be next. Let me know what you guys are going through. Comment below. See if there's any value in these videos. I'd like to hear your input and feedback. Peace.